we could agree that Puerto Rico is very small, right? It's like, how many times can Puerto Rico fit inside of a state like, not too big, let's see, Maine, inside of the state of Maine. So, when it comes to millions of donated bottled water, I don't know, donated or scraped together, it's not a gesture. That's to say, like, that the executive branch during a storm or hurricane would offer these bottled waters, It's not too far of a stretch from the imagination. It's not a ploy. Like, you actually have to argue that it's not a fucking ploy to distribute the water, okay? And okay, I know that the first inclination is to put a lot and all of the responsibility on the mayor, right? But somebody told her not to release them all waters, And do you think that she would listen to the governor if he told her not to do it? If her ass is potentially on the line, when she goes on television and says we're dying out here in the hundreds, like 1600 or something like that, and it's not just a fucking tit for tat trying to game of one-upmanship when you have to bring things back to some reasonable assessment, to not let things just get, too far out of whack or imbalanced in your mind. Yeah, 64 people, not to play it down, 64 lives is 64 lives. To be, is this ad nauseum? Is that the right way to use the word? Ad nauseum, maybe. I don't know if that's what I'm doing. But okay. And we know the reason why they didn't distribute the water is because that would be a brownie point for Donald Trump. So you got to deny him that, because Donald Trump doesn't learn his lessons. They're trying to, okay, fine. You want to convince normies that Donald Trump is stubborn and doesn't take a lesson. But the lesson is what? Don't win? Regardless of how I feel about him, I may not cast my approval, but I support him because he's your president. You elected him. I don't vote. Why would I do that? It didn't take 15-minute long commercial of various celebrities to tell me, that you're an asshole if you don't vote. Oh yeah, maybe I did take that. I don't know. But anyways, that was like one of my first clues. Like, are you sure about that? Like, do you want to what's it called? Subscribe to bureaucracy? Because if you give a bureaucrat one vote, or if you give a bureaucrat like a gazillion dollars, one thing that is for certain is that they are offset by some fucking cosmic law that they're to do nothing. And don't be surprised. As a matter of fact, maybe they resent us because we entrusted them to effect a change. And so it could be that maybe they believe that through adversity that we'll figure out how to settle our problems amongst ourselves, each other. Then there would be no dismissive nature of or air of dismissive high what's it called, high-mindedness around in and around the subject of non-essential agencies and institutions, being that you are getting taxed. You have to legalize theft as a now this is the tricky part, because I don't want to use one of their words. Like I could very easily use a colloquialism right now, and I don't have something to replace the colloquialism that I'm not going to use. But let's just leave that one open-ended. I'm just going to leave that one open-ended, because like who wants, like, I don't have the answers. I don't really understand why a year, 2 years after a chemical attack supposedly, where sarin gas victims were treated by teams of medical relief that didn't even go into the situation with sarin gas in mind at all, then where are the smart people? Are all the smart people either like in they have to be divided? Like, there has to be a group of smart people that are like, oh, they're making movies, ooh, and would just maybe bolster in, consolidate themselves and try to, be, maybe cloak their signature so that those smart people that are down with this bullshit don't know, what they're doing, what they plan to do with money, like, and if they have any online activity and all this kind of crap, right? Because I have to imagine that they know what's up with what time is, and that they either have to, they're either being forced to compromise so they can be on narrative and not on message, but to toe some sort of a line, like the party line, right? And they're keeping tabs, which is super restrictive of just basically the functions of a man. Like, you can't be nothing less than a man, then for it to be determinable by your progeny that your will could be subverted for bullshit. So I would want to get away from that if I was a smart person, right? And since there's no, since I'm not a smart person, I'm only waiting for refutation of these claims of their, I don't even need a paper, like a notarized, like, what's it called? Reviewed document that could be like, yeah, this is legitimate. This is, oh, you got him. Still, I don't know a fucking thing, because I can't put the square peg in the triangle hole that tells me what sarin gas actually what it do. For 2 years, there are images coming out now where they're training in preparation for the same. And I told you that they put a bag over the person that they're drilling with's head, the little person, and they breathe through cotton balls, and they weren't even protecting their skin. So is that just to point at the West and say, you look at this idiocracy? They're scavengers, though. They have the iron stomachs that could digest any old swivel. Until they refutate it, I guess that's what it is. I guess that people could see that and be more interested in something else. Like like what color of something you want to buy, or like what club you're gonna go to, or something like that. I mean, if you're, oh, shit, like the world has to go on, right? In order for the world to keep turning, people have to do the same sort of things. So they're being very protective in a sense of keeping themselves safe from information that would change the dynamic of your, assessment, affiliations. You know, you would have to reassess your team, and because when you, if you can relate exactly what I'm saying, then you would, I guess, force the conditions for you to be deterministic, you know. Because we live in an idiocracy, you know. There's people with master's degree and PhDs, and they're struggling with this shit. They're struggling with this. I can't imagine why, you know. Like, you preferred to just leave that alone and not talk about it. Well, like, if we could put this to rest, then you don't have to talk about it. Why talk about it another day? Except for the fact that, reputable sources, everybody knows what a reputable source is. But it's just an image, and they resonate with that image. It doesn't, like, if it's good information, it doesn't matter where who gives it to me. It doesn't matter where I get it. I don't still have to like a person because they gave me good information. I might get good information and still not like you, but I can assess the fucking information. But anyways, I don't even know if I talk to any like-minded people, or if I'm talking to lesser, because I could bring everybody up to speed on where I am, so you could know where I'm coming from, what my purpose, what I'm about, what my purpose is. You can deduce that so easily, like it's nothing. So fucking get on the good foot. If you could refutate this, you're very welcome to, and if you agree, well, I don't just need somebody to agree, but I can definitely understand why you would, because I'm only trying to take the consensus to the next logical conclusion, which is to find out something more substantive, But then, even if I did that, then I'd have to convey it, in some way, and reach out and use the technology, and that's all just shit you have to wait for. But anybody could look at the situation and see it's gay, so I think I'm just gonna let that rock. And if they want to act like you can explain everything as Trump's fault, as in like the Trump storm, if you didn't have a president who is denying that there's climate change, then blame him for the storm that's coming right now, that's just landing tonight. But then at the same time, it's like, it's serendipity that the story about the water bottles has emerged like that. It's being like revealed now that they sat on them shits. That the people that could sit on them shits are just like the people that could prepare children to be used as propaganda. And even though I consider the whatever event is to come of that to be fraudulent, there's still a possibility that those little actors could get killed, They could still be, you know, whatever. I don't want to use euphemisms to say the same thing, but I think I got it across. I think I know when I'm conveying, you know, a sentiment. Is that what it is? It's a sentiment. It's not the same thing as sentiment. I'm not sentimental about it, but I have sentiments about it though. So whatever. I guess it's a wrap.